rather. And so what I want to do is I want to ask you just 2 questions really quick. Like, I want to take that debt. Can I pay you how much you owe her, so that way she has to get that money out of me instead of you?
Absolutely not. Because
okay, fair enough.
All, you don't. When you put things on YouTube, you assume the responsibilities and whatever liabilities come from the content you put out.
What she says, you're the representative.
Those videos, the first video was her 16 videos. That was put up before I was monetized, I do believe. Which made her come to my channel, and she observed that there was a nice audience.
Right.
She felt comfortable there. When I monetized, later on, I was looking at in the creator studio how much views her other her other video was getting, and the AdSense, it was only like less than $20 on the AdSense for the original video, right? So, but I was like, it's not much, but at least that would help her in a little way, at least.
Do you think that they have a non-touchable account that you can open with $20? Isn't usually like 100 the limit, like the minimum?
Oh, I don't know. I don't just, I don't set up accounts for people all willy-nilly,
right.
So I wouldn't know.
Right, okay.
But, so, there was a confusion about the red truck, right? So, she went on her Facebook and she made a red truck video, again, because it had been brought up into conversation. So, I asked her, I said, if you want, I can put your red truck video on the channel. She agreed. But see, all of this AdSense or whatever, this stuff for her, this money for her, giving it to her came into conversation almost mid-October, and I had been talking to her since the end of September. So was this something that that I agreed to do with her before it ever happened? Absolutely not. I wasn't even monetized at the time. But the thing is, YouTube pays out about what, like a month later, after like the month after you get money for like say October in November or something like that, right?
Yes.
If so even if there was this spectacular amount that she was looking to receive, I don't know if she's aware that AdSense is shit, but anyway, the thing is, she flipped on me, John, Q, everybody, before I ever got my first monetized payment, ever. So, kind of shot herself in the foot with that one. And let me tell you,
so we're talking like right, but I mean, if we were talking in terms of like actual USD tender, we're talking about $20, right?
I'll have to go and look. I know for a little bit I did turn it off because she was bitching about it. But then after she kept bitching, I was like, bro, this is my channel. She was okay with putting those up without being compensated. And I put them back on. I was like, fuck it. If she's going to say all this bullshit, I'm going to turn the shit back on. So when you say,
did you see her? I mean, you did see her video, right? You alerted me to it, right?
Yes. No. Yeah, I told you that that's what she was doing.
Yes.
But no, God, no, I did not go watch it. Are you playing it?
No. Oh, yeah, I'm playing only the portion of this video that has to do with you because, yeah, I mean, I think that it's absolutely deplorable. And I was actually running her first video of the night, but then in the chat they were like, no, go to the last one because she was trying to extort money out of Penny. So. Oh. So
yeah,
what?
No, look, in Discord, my mods were telling me that she was live saying, let's see what they say, talking about your family, your kids, your dogs, and money. Yeah. I was like, what in the fuck? And that's whenever I messaged you, and you were like, I don't even think you responded, but But I was like, yeah, they're taking cliff notes basically because you can't 2x shit on Facebook. You have to watch it in fucking real speed, and I just can't.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I guess essentially what I'm doing right now, Penny, is I'm just reacting to the portion of the extortion threat, and I've moved past it, and I, in my opinion, based upon her background, I would say that you probably would be close to meeting the threshold for a criminal charge. In my opinion.
You said she made a threat?
She said that you better put the red truck money in her account or else.
Or else what?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. And that's what I'm asking her openly right now is, or what are you going to do? Because I was there right on by your driveway where your ex was at, and they didn't do anything. So, it's more of that same thing of her like bullying people. And so I figure like if she wants to bully someone, like, I got her $20, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Come get the money from me. Come do me like that kind of thing, right? So I want to ask you a question. Was there ever a rumor ever around that Jodiesue was paid every time she went live during fundraisers and different things?
Was it a rumor? I don't know. Was it? I don't know. Was it a rumor?
No, yeah, there was a rumor that she was being paid, but it really
she joined panels because she wanted to talk. There was actually quite a few times she wanted to go live or whatever, but I'd be busy and I'll say, okay, we'll write down what it is you want to say, think about it, or there would be like some squall tit drama going on, and I just like at that time I think probably I avoided going live because she was upset and I didn't want drama to be on the channel. I didn't want it being a back and forth with Squall on my channel. So there was actually quite a few times where she had wanted to go live and I was just either busy or, I do have a life.
So during these lives, were you pushing any sort of Cash App or PayPal that, in her esteem?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
The only thing that I've ever financially came up off of in dealing with her was whenever Ginger Snap and Chase got her that hotel, and she was there for a few extra days, but longer than she planned because she didn't want to go. I think she didn't feel safe or something. I don't remember exactly why she stayed a few extra days, but she didn't have any way to eat, so I sent her pizza.
Have any idea what that room cost? I mean, was it a nice hotel or was it the meth hole central?
Oh no, it was a nice one. I think I don't remember what it was called, but she had a nice room. It was big. She did it too, and there was no smoking, which was kind of fucked up because if they would have
Are you kidding?
Yeah, if they caught her, then they would have charged Ginger Snap.
Wow. Okay, I'm getting a little clarity in here in the chat. What they're saying is she wants money. The one who paid in the chat, the one that just said the 318, how many days did you pay for in total? Do you have anything else to add, Penny? I know you said you were busy. I don't want to hold you up.
Well, I was, no, I don't, I mean, I was going to go live later and just address a couple of things.
Okay.
Wasn't going to, I mean, I guess it's going to have to be, some of it's going to have to be about Jodiesue, but I was going to address other things. But, I mean, I don't know. It sounds like you're, I mean, it sounds like I need to go watch, but, thank God you're doing this so I can 2X it and I'll have to sit through Facebook. But, look, my heater went out last night in the middle of the night and I woke up and it was 52 degrees in my house. And so I had to get on the phone with the home warranty people, and then there was a 2-hour delay at the schools.
Oh.
And, my whole day up to this point has been home warranty, paying bills, and waiting for the kids to go to school. So
Adulting.
Oh, yeah, basically, yeah.
Well, guess what, man? I appreciate you coming on here and giving me a little clarity because, this just, it's getting out of control now. And then she's, really, like, you have to assume that someone that would go online and try to extort and threaten money out of someone else that helped them, it's just a new level of depravity and a new low. And so it really has me thinking that, Jodiessue's situation is probably, it's probably pretty dangerous, right? I mean, she's scratching for whatever she can get from past stuff. And so what does that really tell you about her present? It's a dire situation there, I would say. So, I just think that you ought to be on the lookout, of course. And I know you keep your head on a swivel and, just stay in front of this situation because I do believe that her behavior will continue to escalate.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate for her. I mean, I'm sorry that she's going through such a time. I really did feel so sorry for her, and I would spend hours upon hours upon hours talking to her. But I mean, it turns out like she was actually talking and messaging with like probably just about everybody else in the world at the time. I thought that like I was like a vent for her. Like I didn't cry. I didn't dig or ask her like crazy questions about Summer. She spent a tremendous amount of time talking about Andy and that situation. And I was just, we just kind of, and I say we because it was more than just myself. It was me and two of my mods at the time. So we all spent a tremendous amount of time either messaging with her on Discord or on the voice chat. And, that's time I'll never get back. So really, maybe I should be compensated for fucking listening and wasting my fucking time.
Well, I mean, and a portion of I know because I have a relationship with Penny behind the scenes, and she's a really solid gal. And so I know that a great deal of the portion of the time you spent on the phone with that lady, it was encouraging her and trying to help motivate her to, get on up and get going with it, right?
Well, no, it was all like, I told her I would never screenshot stuff and put it out. And I really don't want to do that because I do think, to an extent, her situation is dire, and I do think that there's validity in the danger of her situation with the people who are around her. So I didn't want to do that. But, this has been going on for a very long time. And it's, every day that somebody says, Jodiesue said this, it's like, oh my God, why don't I just put out these damn messages? But no, I don't know. It's,
don't let her character influence.
That's what my mom just said, Penny. She said, don't let her character influence yours. And that's the thing, right? Like, if, there is absolutely a threshold, Miss Penny, that you should allow people to do and threaten and say online. Once you reach a certain threshold, man, what we had talked about before is no longer valid. Like you know, it's not like one of those look what you made me do, but it kind of is like a look what you made you, like you know, like you keep saying these things. It's almost under the guise because she knows you're that solid that she can talk this kind of shit and still know you're not going to put the messages out. Right.
Yeah.
If you ever reach that point, I think it's up to you to let her know that you were going to expose them and not have any surprises.
There you go. Like this is my co-host. This is my mom. So,
well, I mean, she has. I mean, I would assume she has all the messages too. Like, I don't know why not put them out? I said I wasn't going to anyway. But she is under the impression that all of these YouTubers are working together behind the scenes. And you know, the first time I ever had any sort of correspondence with you was in your chat when you were talking shit about her and Andy, and I was like, no, this isn't true. And like that was the first time. And like behind the scenes, I was telling Jodiesue, I'm like, look, I'm gonna have to make peace because you know, this isn't okay. Because at the time I was like, one, I didn't like you, and two, it looked like you and Squall were trying to set her up. And God, I only wish I would have listened to Squall because holy shit.
Yeah. Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a lesson in character.
That's all.
You're responsible for yours.
And you know what? You're also smarter now, Miss Penny, that you'll be able to identify certain types of characters, you know, personality types, because, you know, you've got just a few really base staple personality types that come here. Right. So, you know, you also won't be drug into scenarios where, you know, you end up finding out your picker may have been broke or you were bamboozled or whatever, you know. So I know that I've had many scenarios here where my picker was broke. And so now it's made me very jaded. And, you know, and we know, like, you know, people put my phone number out once a day or twice a day. And when that happens, you know, I start getting the weird, hey, how are you? Or the calls of people saying, who is this? And I'm like, do you always call numbers offline and say, who is this? Like, it's a bunch of weirdos. So
yeah, well, I mean, after Jodiesue, I really didn't. I told myself, like, I was so like, I'm never, ever, ever, ever gonna talk to somebody close to the case again. That's why, like, when you messaged me and asked if I wanted to come up and ask Dawn some questions, what did I say?
Yeah, you said, hell no.
I said, no, not really.
Yeah. But, you know, you did. And, you know, there again, like when she says that YouTubers are working together behind the scenes, in a sense, it's kind of true. But in the other sense, she needs to understand that there definitely is a boundary that Benny won't cross. And that's, I don't go to the Tiffany Marie's and the Molly's and the AB's and the Dougs. Like, that's all way past anything I would be willing to go to. But, you know, so in a sense, she's right, but moreover, she's incorrect because I work with about two. I don't even work with Sissy behind the scenes. I just felt like having three different poles of theory and understanding was going to be a nice blend. And I haven't had anyone really give any bad rebuttals about that interview last night. So, you know, I think...
I did have questions, and it was like I said I wasn't going to do it, and like just the thought of it, you know, with my own personal feelings and stuff, it kind of like made me feel uneasy. And then there's the whole, you know, everybody is going after Prayer Garden. I don't even watch that whole thing, whole mess. That whole shit show, but I do know that people, like, there's drama there, and that's why I was like, I don't know, let's see. And I was like, you know, fuck it, because I do have questions, and other people have questions. I heard the Dudley interview, and just even talking to you about it on the phone, when I tell you, I was like, all right, well, I have to go write some questions down, because just talking about it, I'm already thinking of questions. I'm going to forget them if I don't write them down. Right. So, I wanted to ask questions. So I went up there, and then, you know, everybody can just eat my whole ass if they don't like it. I don't really give a fuck.
And as you shouldn't, right? But let me ask you a question since I got you right here. Was there ever a point while you were still dealing with Jodiesue on a regular where I mean, did you find her in many inconsistencies or not?
See, I didn't listen for that. I wasn't listening to, really, I was listening because she needed to talk. I thought she needed somebody to vent to. I felt like what she said, she'd been trapped in a box for all these years. And, it's just, she's now coming to terms with that part of her life is over and she's processing it. So I listened, fuck ton, and I really wasn't trying to catch her in inconsistencies. I was really kind of compartmentalizing the fact that she was a neighbor to Summer. Beyond that, she's somebody who needed help. So yeah, and everybody who I was with, and most of them still are with, they all wanted to help. Yeah,
no, and I and it is what it is, but. Crispy Critter, I want to answer your question really quick. It's not that I'm not coming here in validating Sissy. I'm going to tell you what, I love her like I love Jodiesue as a sister in Christ. I don't hate Jodiesue. I just despise and think that some of the things that she does and is involved with is completely deplorable. But does that mean I hate her as a human being? No. If she was in need and I could assist her, I most certainly would. But with that being said, I don't know. It's not that Sissy. It's not that Sissy is solid, Crispy. What it is that Sissy has information. Like, Sissy has a finger on a different pulse than most of the people on YouTube. And I can tell you that definitively. What Sissy is capable of obtaining is way different than everybody else. She can obtain the kind of information that's, pretty much obtainable to me. Donald talks to her. She talks to Donald. So that does give them, that gives that situation a little more validity when Sissy Prayer Garden is talking about, not the speculative things, right? So she does have a finger on the pulse.
And you asked me or I think Prayer Gardens asked me last night, somebody asked me what I thought of Jodiesue and I guess her involvement. And again, I don't think that she was involved. I really don't. And actually, I felt genuine, emotions coming from her when she would talk about her regrets that day. There was real tears, and so I believe that she is genuine in that. I do think that she really does have some severe trust issues. Beyond that, I wouldn't be able to speculate on any more of her issues, so I won't. But, she's funny. She's insightful. Like, whenever she talks, she's a funny person. Like, you can't say that whenever you listen to Jodiesue, some of the little things that she says is kind of like not clever and kind of like make you chuckle a little bit.
No, yeah, she's
got a smart mouth.
She's very articulate too. I mean, the woman is not dumb in her element, but this is not her element. And so, but there are takeaways from Jodiesue. She's articulate. She seems to be intelligent enough to be, toxically involved with all of this to this point. So she definitely has an intelligence in a way about her that does actually, it pulls people in. But there again, she possesses that other side of her that as quickly as she can pull you in, she'll push you away just that quickly as well. So, she is a phenomenon in a way to me, but I just can't make sense of her character in this storyline, in this script.
Well,
you can't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I keep coming back to trying to make sense of, or trying to put logic or apply logic to people who you don't understand and you live completely different from. there's just no way that you can logically think about their actions or their words or why they did this or whatever, because we aren't like them. Like there's a difference in that lifestyle in and of itself, the lifestyle, but also the character there. I think there's a major difference. And I just don't think that you should rack your brain trying to understand, because I think it's probably just time to accept we will never understand.
Right.
I
agree.
Their logic.
I agree. At the same time, though, I do want to say this. At the same time, Jodiesue, she likes to articulate that area like it is some place that is foreign to the whole world. And let me tell you what, the geography is foreign. Some of the living conditions in terms of, like hollers being all one family, like it is not so much different than tight knit neighborhoods in Dallas, Texas, or Brooklyn, New York, right? It's every neighborhood has its issues, and this neighborhood wasn't exempt from that. So, but she really tries to paint out there like it's just some foreign land that none of us will ever understand, and and I don't buy it because I've been there, right? It isn't so much different than what they make it seem, although it does have its complexities that are unique all of its own.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That is true, and I think that's probably where Scott was really valuable, especially in the beginning, because a lot of people, especially inner city people, no matter where you are, didn't understand, and then it gets even more dynamic because not only is it country out there, it's like it's different.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that place used to be somewhere that was much different than it is now before the introduction of, the web, right? Before that place would have been cut off from, your big city styles and music and all of that stuff. But now look, I mean, it's sort of a fad out there that you've got a bunch of kind of, like a bunch of young kids out there that are with sort of the gang culture, you know what I mean? So, the web certainly has caught that area up is kind of my connotation, that she still wants us to believe that it's an archaic area, but in actuality, it's very up to speed with everything else.
Yeah. In your chat now, I'm reading somebody said, until she clears things, she said, until Jodiesue straightens things out, no one will ever convince me she doesn't know something. In her own words, and actions have made her complicit. And, that's something that I had to basically wrap my mind around, is that I was actually speaking to what could be a suspect in a missing child's case. And whenever I tell you I compartmentalize, I did. And that is, it's so true. I don't know. I think somebody said that she says that she's been cleared, but I don't think that they've ever come out and say that anybody's been cleared. So, yeah, that is just, I'm so surprised that I spent so much time talking to somebody who could be involved in
her disappearance.
Very harmful things. And, I just don't ever want to do that again. It would be different if Ronnie Lawson came out and was like, yeah, the neighbor's cleared, then I'd be like, oh, okay. Whew.
Right.
But
yeah, it could justify the action. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know it is a very surreal situation in terms of dealing with, what have been labeled persons of interest, because it's very surreal. You're already kind of loaded with whatever remains of your bias, however effective you are at divorcing yourself from it, and what remains, you come in and then you start dealing with these people that have a direct tie and carnal knowledge to the innards of this situation. And it's very, it's not off-putting, but it takes you back. It's like, wow, this is, very strange. Like when I could stand on top of that hill and look over and see Jodiesue and Andy's old place, it just puts it really into a much different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, whenever I first started talking to her, I remember, people warned me and they were like, be careful, she's still a suspect, and then the whole entire internet was like, didn't believe her or whatever, and then you have the videos that came out talking about how she hates kids or whatever, so, and the kind of person that I am, like, people can say things about you all day long, and until that is shown to me by their own actions to me, I'm not going to believe it. Just right. Like, I mean, I don't know. I was very warned about Jodiesue, and I was warned about Chase. But until people show me for myself, like, I can't. Like, I just don't. Like, I just don't.
I applaud that. That's very, it's adult to be that way, I
mean, it's the same thing with everybody bashing Q and saying all these horrible things about Q. Like, I've never seen that about her. I've never had any reason to, she's never been anything but, classy. Like, she's just, I don't know, like, why would I just automatically assume that this lady who raised all this money for a good cause is out to, like, I just don't automatically assume the worst of people, and I definitely wait for them to show me themselves. And, my best friend, my own mom, could tell me, oh, that person's a piece of shit. And I would be like, well, I mean, but why though? Like, what did they do? Like, to me, though, like, are you just misunderstanding the situation? Like, okay, it's just, I don't judge people. I really, really try not to judge people.
No, I know you don't, and you're pretty, you are very, very, very good at sort of controlling your bias, and that's one thing that I've always been, I've always been appreciative of, and was able to identify that you did have a particular emotional intelligence that it would take to be here and handle these sort of, these are very sensitive issues, and you have to have an emotional intelligence to be able to handle a lot of these things and to be able to do it with grace, right? That's kind of the key, because, I do believe that if, like the polygraph test, right? Don and Candace had said it forever and ever and ever. We passed the polygraph test. So when Dr. Phil and Sheriff Lawson corroborate that they did, you have to now start looking, I mean, without bias, divorce yourself from the bias, and you have to look back at a lot of different scenarios with Don and Candace much differently, because now with, what comes with the corroboration of the polygraph test is also that they were telling the truth to us. They told us they passed the polygraph, and they actually did. So I believe that if anyone else were to have been telling the truth about their involvement in this in any way, like, I believe if Jodiesue had been cleared, there would have been a leak, or there would have been something that says, yes, lady that hears the scream has been cleared by TBI. Be a real short write-up, probably wouldn't even be a video. It would just be a publication of clearance of Jodiesue. But you've not had that ever. So
yeah, and the same thing goes for Jackie Jodiesue. He's never been publicly cleared. He's, none of these people have. And I do think that it was really irresponsible of Ronnie Lawson to not come out and say, I mean, that's just my opinion, because look at everything that happened all this time where Don was adamantly saying that they passed, and then Ronnie Lawson is just watching all of this chaos, and he's kind of basically complicit. He could have very easily said, yes, it is true, they did pass the polygraph, and then I think that a lot of things would have been different in this whole entire time. if we would have known that Don just wasn't lying and he was telling the truth, because, I mean, nobody believed him.
Right.
I didn't believe him.
Absolutely. And so when you get that sort of back end validation, you know, as effective instruments here, you take that validation at the point that you get it and you reverse backwards in time. And you have to tell, like, there were people that would say there's no effing way those two passed a polygraph, right? They said it for months. There's no way they passed a polygraph. They're lying. And then as soon as it was corroborated, you're like, okay. So this whole time, we've seen this behavior that we maybe liked or didn't like, whatever. It was distasteful, you know, over the edge, whatever. But then at the same time, you got to remember they passed a polygraph. So there's polygraph holds no weight in the court, but it holds much weight in the investigation, right? So that's where people get it confused. They're like, oh, the polygraph is not admissible in court. That doesn't matter, because at that point, they already have probably done an efficient enough investigation that they've only used the polygraph as a landmark in the investigation, right? So
right, I think that they use it as kind of, yeah, like an investigative tool that kind of gives the police an idea. But I wonder why more people haven't been polygraphed. I mean, we've had everybody's name under the sun come up in this case, and they're the only ones that have been polygraphed. Jodiesue says she begged for a polygraph. Why didn't they give her one? That would be helpful. I mean, because there is a large group of people who do think that Jodiesue is involved. So why not give her a polygraph? Why not? Why not give Jackie Dobbs a polygraph? Why? I mean, what's going on?
I think that basically probably all, you know, passed without her being tested, because you know, that they're again with the initial. So we have to remember that it's not just Hawkins County. The TBI and the FBI were involved. So there would have to be at least a three agency cover up in order to keep Jodiesue, you know, on this side of things. So my point is that, you know, it's not just like Hawkins County said, nah, we don't need to polygraph her. The feds said not to, and TBI would have said not to, right? So there is a reason that probably we'll never know. And I'm assuming that it had to do with inconsistencies in her statement. So she'd make a statement to Hawkins County, then she'd make one to TBI, then she'd make one to the FBI. And then they'd switch it up and they'd come at her again. And through that line of questioning with all these different agencies, I do believe that they've deemed her, I'm not going to say that she's clear, but I think that they've deemed her a person of interest based solely on the fact that she's inconsistent. They don't have any real reason to look at her as you know, the number one person of interest necessarily, but the fact that there has been discredited portions. Like, now listen to me, Penny. We're talking about two huge portions of this crime she says she has the keys to. That is what the person looked like at the jumble sale that she saw all these different times, right? That and well, the other one for me really is the situation with her not getting into the water when she said she does. I believe that there's something inside of that, because once I touched on that the other day, boy, she's been after me for 2 or 3 days now straight. So it definitely pushed a button. I pushed the staying dry button, and for the past 3 days, she's really been really focusing just on trying to, you know, defame me, I guess, but hasn't really given a reason for that. The other thing is why she puts Andy at the scene at 4:30 when Andy puts himself on the road after 6 o'clock, right? So
I never heard her say that he was there around 4:30. I do remember her saying that Don and Andy pulled up around the same time, and I would assume that same time would be, you know, when Don pulled up, which was later. So I never heard her say that. Where is that one of her Facebook videos?
Yeah, something way back. She said 4:30. Now, what was your understanding of the time when Don arrived?
I don't think that it was ever really clearly established from him, but I do think I remember something after 7 being said from Chris McDonough.
Okay. Let me look at the chat. Because there were so many different times given. I'm not saying that Don changed his story, but rather, YouTube just kind of had something to do with, it morphing. I don't really.
My timeline kind of goes like, Candace called him at 5:30, and then he packed up and left, but he didn't call law enforcement until 6:23.